Am I the asshole for taking my sister's side? I have a 14-year-old daughter with my ex. When my ex got remarried, she stopped being involved in my daughter's life. My sister stepped up. My sister is now like a mom to my daughter, and she tends to spoil her and dote on her a lot. She is rich and can't have kids of her own. I recently got remarried. My wife has a 15-year-old daughter. My wife and stepdaughter are very jealous of my daughter's bond with my sister, and they complain a lot. I tried to explain that she is basically like a mom to her, but they wouldn't listen. A few days ago was my daughter's 14th birthday, and my sister brought more gifts than I could count. Meanwhile, a few months ago for my stepdaughter's birthday, she gave her a gym membership. My stepdaughter has shown a lot of interest in going, for 3 months. It's a very good gym, and my daughter also goes there, and it costs about $750 for 3 months, I think. My sister pays for my daughter, so I don't know the exact price. So it's a generous gift, but there was still a lot of difference between the gifts' prices, and now my wife and stepdaughter are angry. They think I should stop her from seeing my daughter until she agrees to treat both kids equally. I said no, and they called me an asshole. Not the asshole, but your wife is. That sort of jealousy, lack of empathy and entitlement is not a good look. You and your daughter are so flipping lucky to have your sister in her life. Don't you dare let pettiness take that away from her. Not the asshole. You don't get to dictate how your sister spends her money, so you did the correct thing in telling them no. Just because you are married now doesn't entitle them to an equal share of your sister's assets. Your sister has a maternal bond with your daughter, and has stepped up as her mother figure while her biological mother has abandoned her. The fact that your wife wants to sabotage that bond for material gain is frankly disgusting. Not the asshole, but the title is wrong. You didn't take your sister's side, you took your child's side. Your daughter has a close, long-standing maternal relationship with her aunt. Your wife and stepdaughter are jealous of family relationships that are typical in blended families. This may improve with time, but you don't take away your daughter's family to pacify your wife. Not the asshole, and I don't think your marriage will last long if your wife and her daughter are ganging up against your daughter. Here's the thing, your daughter is like a daughter to your sister. There's no possible chance for your sister to see your step-kid as her daughter as well. That's unrealistic. The interesting part is your wife and step don't demand your sister to love the step as she loves your daughter, but material things. Isn't that a red flag for you? Info: why did you remarry? The relationship dynamics between your sister and your kid should have been something any future spouse was well acquainted with. If you knew you were jumping feet first into family drama, then why? Why was this not discussed before you got married? Strange. The whole extended family relationship would be an obvious elephant in the room when blending families. Am I the asshole for cutting our lunch short when my friend showed up late? I have a friend who is always late. Love him, but it is so irritating, so I decided I wanted to set some stronger boundaries around my time and energy. I took some advice I saw online to let late people arrive late, but you still leave at the time you had planned. Eventually they'll get the point and realize they can't just play with your time. So my friend and I had a lunch at 1. Friend texted at 12:50 that he's rushing across town, and will be there probably 20 minutes late. I waited for them in the car until he got there at 1:35, and we sat down to eat. A few minutes after getting my meal, I called over the waiter and asked for the check plus a to-go box. My friend started asking me what's going on / why am I leaving early, and I told him I have something after I have to go to. That's why I told him 1, so I could make both events. My friend, why didn't you tell me that? I would have gotten here better on time if I knew you had something after this. He then said he had to rush through many different things to get here, rush through traffic, was sorry about being late, but it was wrong of me not to communicate. I had something time-sensitive afterward, either while scheduling our hangout or when he texted that he'd be late, so he could have had the option to go home. Now I feel bad and wondering if I treated him poorly when I was just trying to be more strict with my time going forward. My friend, why didn't you tell me that? I would have gotten here better on time if I knew you had something after this. Not the asshole, he just admitted that he could have made an effort and been on time. This is an insight into his mindset. The reason he is habitually late is that his default setting is that you have all the time in the world and nothing better to do unless you specifically tell him otherwise. Meanwhile, whatever he thinks to do to fill the time that makes him late, compulsively, just couldn't be helped unless he has a self-serving reason to be on time, then suddenly it can be helped. Not the asshole. Your friend just admitted that he would try harder to keep his behavior from making you late for something. But otherwise he has no problem wasting your time and making you just sit around waiting for him. He is not very respectful of you. Not the asshole. Why are you questioning yourself? Isn't this the exact point you set out to prove? That your time is important, and this friend shouldn't just assume you can afford time to hang around waiting for them to grace you with their presence. They literally admitted they could have been on time, but chose instead to make you wait again. Not the asshole. Your friend just told you that he could be on time if he wanted to, he just didn't care. You sitting around waiting for him doesn't bother him. What you do with this info is up to you. Not the asshole. It makes no sense that the onus is on you to tell him not to be late because you have a hard stop. You don't owe him that information, and obviously, the fact that he admitted he could have been on time shows it is in his control. He told on himself. Don't let him trick you into thinking you screwed up here. Hold your stance, explain kindly that your time is valuable and that you love your friendship, but that being made to wait every single time is unfair to you, and you aren't going to let that impact your other plans or commitments moving forward. You could also point out that you found it insulting that he later said he could have been on time if he'd known, which shows his lateness wasn't entirely out of his control. It was simply that he didn't care to respect your time. Not the asshole. But if it was me, the next time I'd go into the restaurant at the agreed upon time and not wait for him to get there and not wait for him to order either. And start eating whenever the food comes to the table, even if he's not there or just sitting down or whatever. When he sends the just leaving now text, can just reply back that I've already sat down and he can join you when he arrives. As someone who grew up with a father that could never be anywhere on time, who wouldn't even start getting ready until the time we were supposed to be somewhere. Fuck this shit. I hate it. Am I the asshole for assigning the chore of dishes to my wife? My wife is obsessed with Stanley cups. She owns at least 2 dozen, probably more. She uses 3 cups a day. Her morning coffee goes in one, a flavored water goes in the second, and then a third goes with her to work empty, so she can put whatever else she wants in there that day. For the last couple of years, I've put up with it. We've been married 9 years, and the only assigned chores are that I do the lawn care and the garbage. Smell of garbage can make her vomit. We equally cook and clean and do laundry and anything else that needs to be done whenever we see it needs to be done. Chores have never been a point of contention until March of this year. I took a lateral position that changed my work style significantly. I now work from home 4 days a week, with the 5th being a half-day split between 2 offices. I'm home by 3 o'clock on those days. So because of that, I've taken on way more of the chores. I'm not complaining about most of it because I can do it, and my life is much easier than it was before. The problem is my wife's habits. Because her office is so remote, lunch options are limited, so she tends to take all the leftovers from dinner. The issue is that she will leave the dirty, unrinsed containers in her car for days at a time, and then just stack them up in the sink for me to deal with. Between the insanely bad smell and filling up the bottom drawer of the dishwasher every few days with Stanleys, I'm over it. In addition to the numerous cups, she also expects the matching lid and straw to be reassembled before storage. I told her that if she wants to continue ignoring my requests to bring her containers in every day, or to at least rinse them out at work, then she has to do the dishes from now on. Now, according to her, I'm being unreasonable. Because I'm home and don't have any commute time, I have way more free time than she does, and so I should take on the majority of the chores. But from my view, I've done exactly that. Since the change, I do nearly everything. Vacuuming, mopping, cleaning/folding/storing clothes, grass, garbage, and most of the cooking. I don't think it's particularly fair to expect me to also deal with her stinky Tupperware and mountain of cups along with the sorting of the accessories after. Am I out of line here? Smell of garbage makes her vomit made me giggle. Then I read she leaves dirty food containers in her car. You know her car smells worse than garbage. I'd assign her trash duty. You have a dishwasher. No one has to wash dishes. All she has to do is put her own dishes in the dishwasher. You doing most of the mutual chores does not mean you should have to clean up after her. Grown-ups should take care of their own dishes. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Tell her that until she cuts out her disgustingly bad habit of leaving the containers until they stink, dealing with her stink is entirely her problem. Once that habit is fixed, you can revisit the issue. End of. Not the asshole. She can't handle a garbage can but can handle driving around in one. I would even argue what she's doing is worse than taking the trash out. At least there are scented garbage bags, and you just have the brief walk to the can, then you're done for a few days. Can even hold your breath, or even mask. She's not even rinsing them at work. So they are just sitting her car, dealing with weather changes and hours flying by, with food still in them. I would be tossing them. I know it's not great for the environment, but maybe she needs to get single-use ones or frozen meals. She needs to get a grip and clean her mess. The least she can do is rinse out her containers. The least. Like the bare minimum. If she can't do that. Does she wipe her butt? Does she have time for that? It is a reasonable expectation that your wife would at least rinse out her numerous Stanley cups. Instead, she leaves them to fester into science experiments. I presume you aren't a work-from-home mad scientist. If it were me, I'd give her one final warning to rinse them out. After that, I'd start disposing of them as biohazards. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not accepting to pay full price for my coworkers' food delivery meals? My coworkers are big into food delivery services, and it's a common conversation in our office. I've tried a trial order before, and it wasn't for me. The meals were really expensive compared to regular meal prepping. 2 days ago, one of my coworkers was complaining she messed up her delivery window and now has too many meals, so a few of them would have to be thrown away. I told her if she was going to throw them away, I could buy them off her. Today she brought 2 chicken meals in and told me they would need to be cooked today because they were expiring soon. I asked her how much she wanted for them, and she said $80 full price. I was awkwardly quiet about it for a minute and said I will take one of them. She didn't really say anything back, but I could tell she was annoyed. She works in the connecting office, so I haven't had a chance to talk about it with her. But charging full price after having a conversion about them expiring soon was really unexpected. Should I pay the price, though? We never agreed on a price ahead of time, and there seems to have been a lot of miscommunication. So if I'm in the wrong, I would like to know before talking to her. Edit. Thanks for responses, guys. I talked to her and told her that I appreciated her bringing the food, but it was more expensive than I expected, and I was going to pass. She didn't really have much to say back. She wasn't upset, but changed the subject. I did check the servings before she took them, though, and they were 2 servings each. Definitely not $80. It was insane to even offering to pay for them. She had expiring meals that she wasn't going to eat, so if she wanted to do good, she could give them away, or she could throw them out. Expecting any amount of money is absurd, and expecting full price would have me never speaking to her outside of what is required for work again. She just isn't the type of acquaintance I would want in my life. Not the asshole. That was how much I paid for a single week of food delivery meals. That's a ridiculous ask. I think agreeing to pay half was beyond generous. Nah, not really anyway. Co-workers should have been upfront about the pricing, or been kind enough to give you a discounted rate, just because the food would be wasted otherwise. Not really sure why she couldn't have froze the meal/ingredients and saved it for herself another time, but whatever. It's completely okay for you to say, "Whoa, $80. Sorry, I didn't realize how much they are. I'm not interested in spending that much, especially since they aren't really the freshest." I get why it's awkward. She's completely cool with charging full price, and she has that right. I guess you could add on a bit of your own responsibility. I'm sorry you went to the trouble of bringing them here. I guess I should have asked how much they were. $80 for 2 meals? That's more than most restaurants for a dinner. That's wild. Do not pay that. Not the asshole. If she was to charge you like that, she should have provided a list for you to choose from. Honestly, I would have said, "I thought you were giving them away so you didn't have to toss them." And she does have options like preparing them and freezing, etc. She wants awkward. Give her awkward. Not the asshole. She is, though, for charging full price for food that is about to expire.